organization Istituto Oikos, that is an Italian NGO, is dealing with sustainability and food security since a while. We have some projects in Africa, especially in Tanzania. So we took the opportunity of a fund from European Community for development education, and we thought that a good idea was to talk about two-day food. To talk about food. As Italian, we love food, and we thought we could talk about food from a global perspective. So we brainstormed in our organization, and we decided to involve other NGOs like ours that are based in other countries, Spain, England, in Portugal, in Poland, and also in African countries, in Kenya, Mozambique, and Tanzania. Actually, the campaign is a global perspective, so it's talking about food by an European perspective and also a developing country perspective. So it's today the food is quite global. The food we have in our dish. I mean, the story that talks, the story of the food is global. Is a cereal food. Is a homologous food. What we would like the food, the story of the food look like was a story that talks about biodiversity, rights and support of small farmers, of fair prices, a story that is global in a way, but support the rights of all the population. The food actually is produced globally. 80% of the food produced comes from small farmers. They really feed the world. Only 20 up to 30% of the food produced is done by the multinational agro business. So the world situation is now in the hand of the small farmer as a feeding perspective, but they don't have the access to the land they cultivate. They don't have infrastructure, they don't have access to urban markets, and also there is also pressure from the agribusiness to use specific certain seeds for the small farmers. So what the food campaign, the Food We Want campaign want to do is talk about this issue, stimulate a public debate on what is the situation of the agriculture and the food, the global food today, and what we would like to be. The food we want in our dish is different from the food that we have now. Our main target in Europe is the general public, especially the young people, because when you talk about a global issue like the food is, just people say, yeah, but what I can do about it? I mean, about world food hunger, what I can do about it? But there's a lot to do individually, because consumption choices, our daily choices about the food we buy, have a really global impact. So individual consumption have global results. So what we want to do is talk to young consumers, to tell them to become critical consumers, and to look at the food that they buy, because the daily choice has a global impact. And at the same time, in Africa, we are talking to the farmers. At the moment, we are collecting good agricultural practices that farmers in Kenya, Mozambique and Tanzania have developed for their own land. We are collecting all the data, and we will do a kind of handbook that will collect of the good practices that the farmers they are using to for sustainable farming, and also we will do some workshop and seminars for them to promote sustainable practices on agriculture. Actually, there is 1.5 I mean, there is enough food to feed all the people in the world at the moment. We produce more calories that are necessary, but the problems are political, economic, infrastructure, access to markets, land rights. So it's more a global issue.